Alright, so continue the example. Save this as promise explained example. So let's say I have that. I have HTML5. Uh, so all right. So I just want to do a very simple example. Very simple example. So let's say that I want to write a function, similar to the simple example I did in that the first video. What I was doing is that, okay, we said let's whatever it is, maybe promise be equals to new promise, and within that we have our resolve, and then we have our reject, and we have something like this. All right, so we said if I want to come from that angle, if 5 is greater than 4, resolve something, else reject something. All right, so but this is going to be a static method that won't be useful for anything. So first, for it to be useful, so let's just, even though this one is just a basic example, let's wrap it around a function. So let's say we call it a function, and check age, just a simple example that we can relate with, and we'll call the age x. Okay, now so let's say I have this, I call that age x, function check age, and the age is x. So now I'm saying that if x, which is the age, is greater than or equals to 30, so resolve, and then let's say what I'm resolving is, I'm saying that this person is qualified. So I could have resolved anything or resolve data or whatever it is, but let's just keep it simple for now. And then I'm rejecting not, or let me say needs to grow up. So this is very simple, right? People will say, how is this different from the normal if else statement? But it's in the core that you see that this had so much color and so much distinct to your programming. Now, so what we are saying now is that we are checking an age. We are checking an age, and if the age is greater than 30, we resolve qualified. If it's less than it, we reject this one. So when I go to my function call, which could be anywhere, so let's say I check age. I call this check age. Check age. All right, and then there, let me just say I prompt user to enter their age. Your age, I do that, check age, and I say prompt enter your age. Then I want to do something if their age meets my, so now this is not going to work because what we have here is not promisified yet. So what we're having here is let promise be equals to this, and you can see that when I try to do a dot, then it's not even suggesting it because that is not a promise yet. So for us to make this a promise, what we're going to do will be, instead of assigning to variable, we just say return new this like this, right? So this way we are promisifying this function. This way we are promisifying this function, or we assign it like that. We assign it like that, and then come here and return this promise. You understand? You've written it like this, and then come here and return it like this, or straight on you just write, instead of wasting your time, you just write it and as okay, return new promise. So this is promisified now. Return new promise. Okay. All right, so you can see that we have this as this automatically becomes available, catch, and then becomes available automatically. All right, so now let's say I say then, you know, whatever it is that you have within the then is the success. So we have response. Like I told you, you don't have to write it, you can write res, whatever it is. So if you're writing some, you know, developers code, you see res, some people write anything they like. But whatever it is that you put here within the then, you know that represents a success. And then if anything go wrong, we are going to catch it within the error. So I have this as, let's say I call it error, just for the sake of readability. That's why I'm writing it in full, and I can break it into lines also, so that you know we can relate with it. So this is the function that we're writing. Normally you know how to write this function like this, but how to change the success and failure callback to it is what we are learning. Do something after this thing is done. You know, this thing might be a success, it could be a failure, and then you can continue to do other stuff like that. All right, so you're trying to, you know, rearrange your own stuff, you know, contrary to the way JavaScript will have handled stuff. All right, so now we have here, let's say what I'm literally just doing is I'm just doing alerting response. I could have just continued. Let's say I continue the process. If the person is qualified, I just continue the process. And if he fails, you know, maybe I go back to another loop, whatever it is. So I say alert error here like this. So if you look at that, it will run this. It will run this now. So look at this, just declaring a simple function, resolving, rejecting, and then passing then and passing catch. Now, so if I do this, open with live server, so it's asking me to enter my age. So let's say I gave it 44, and it told me I'm qualified. Then I put 22, and it told me you need to grow up. So what you saw there is that all these qualified, need to grow up, you know, were passed as they are signatures that were passed into resolved and reject respectively, and then they are available within the then and the catch distance. So like I said, you could have done so much more. Do something, you know, do something, you know, do more. You can execute codes there. Here too, you can do something. It doesn't have to be highlighting the error alone or something like that. You can just continue, you know, an action like that. So this is a very simple example. I feel you can relate with this example. Also, for the sake of the size, so I don't know what time it is now. I'm going to stop this one and run another example for you in another video.